What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so we're still on the APK here, so with that comes the standard disclaimer. This video is brought to you by Netmarble and the Content Creator Club. Everything you see here is still subject to change from now until the live version. Alright, so with that out of the way, today we're going to be looking at Molecule Man. So he started off bugged where we weren't even able to use his skills in any of the combat. All of his skills were grayed out. They have fixed that, but the skills still seem a little buggy to me. But I guess I'll let you guys be the judge of that when I show you some gameplay. But for now, let's just go ahead and take a look at the character and just see what his skill kit is like. So his tier 2 passive here is going to be the same as Sentry. He's got a revive, so he revives with 80% of his max HP. His first skill, we have a bind. Second skill, we have a stun. Third skill, we have decrease attack that applies to enemies. We have incapacitation, and we have damage immunity for 5 seconds. So pretty nice skill there for PvP. The fourth skill, we have paralysis that ignores immunity. We have all defense down. We have a heal, a 20% heal, which is actually quite nice. And we have penetration, 80% chance to penetrate everything. Decrease all damage received by 50%. So the fourth skill is giving him quite a few things here. And then if we move on to the fifth skill, we do have time freeze there, which time freeze always ignores immunity anyway, so it doesn't need to say ignores immunity there. And that's pretty much it on the fifth skill. His passive is going to be decrease the reflect or the effects of reflect by 50%. And then reflect effects is physical reflect, which I'm assuming, since those are on separate lines, that means he just decreases the amount of reflect damage that he receives overall, and then he will reflect physical damage back at the enemies. It doesn't give me a percentage there, so I'm not sure, because if it's just decrease the amount of reflect by 50%, and that's for physical reflect, he doesn't do any physical damage, so there's no physical damage that's going to be reflected back at him. So that's why I'm just a little confused on the wording there, because normally they put like a percentage or based on attack there when they put the reflect damage, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then the leadership here is something new. So this is the first kind of leadership like this that we've had in the game, and I'm curious to see how this is actually going to interact when we start using him, because this looks like a PvP leadership. I don't really think this is going to help out in like World Boss or anything like that. Maybe against Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch or Cable, those that have typings, but this shouldn't really affect universals. So anything that's not universal that you would have a type disadvantage against, you now get that nullified. So it says ignore damage increase / decrease effects between self and opposing faction, and that applies to all allies, so it's not just self as in him. And each faction is basically speed, combat, blast, and universal. And then we have decreased chain hit damage received by 15%, so it's going to decrease chain hit damage received. And then when he's debuffed, he also has a debuff lead where he removes all debuffs for 6 seconds, but it's only on a 10-second cooldown. So I believe this is the best debuff lead that we have to date, because I think the other ones have more downtime than this one. This one's going to be active for a lot more time, I believe. I could be wrong on that. This is 4 seconds of downtime. The other ones had, I want to say there were like 7 or 8 seconds of downtime, but I could be wrong on that, because I think it was 20-second cooldown and lasts for 12 seconds, so that would be 8 seconds. But yeah, either way, his leadership is pretty interesting. I'm not sure how it's actually going to play out or how much effect it's actually going to have in PvP to decrease the, the difference between opposing factions. And it does just say factions there for, I'm assuming that's the typing, but it could also be factions in terms of heroes and villains as well. So with him being a villain, any character that has an attack that says increased damage against super villains would also be nullified if the faction thing applies to both the typing of the character and their affiliation. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me, but if anyone has figured it out or one of the other star agents has said something about it, I have not seen that yet, but if any of them have said anything, let me know in the comments below. But for now, I think it's just for your typing. and that's it. So I don't think it's going to affect the supervillain and superhero related damages, but I could be wrong on that. Actually, let me read the thing down here. Using Maul Command's leadership, grants ignore, yeah, between self and opponent's effects. Right there it just says and opponent's effects. Increases damage dealt or decreases damage received. Okay, between heroes, villains, and neutral between, yeah, heroes, villains, and neutral characters doesn't apply to characters with the effect and their enemies. So it does work against heroes and villains as well. So having those passives like Colossus is not going to work anymore because this is anything. It says increases or decreases, so I'm assuming that's also for defensive ones too. So it shouldn't work with Colossus. You're not going to get the boost from Mystique. You're not going to get those increased damage dealt to supervillains or increased damage dealt to superheroes. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know how big of an impact that'll make. We'll have to see if he's going to be a better lead. Well, actually, he has debuff lead built in, so he'll just be the best lead anyway, because I was going to say, instead of using a debuff lead. Yeah, because, yeah, he'll be really good then for that. Right now, I just have a CTP of energy on him, because I was trying out his skill rotation to see if a regular damage proc would work for him. So far, I'm not convinced that it is, because he has some weird skill, like animation for the durations and what you can kind of cancel into. So let's take a look at the skills first. His first skill, then just pulls everyone in, and then he just slashes the ground there, and you see all the particle and molecule explosions. The second skill, kind of the same thing, he just slashes into the ground there and dashes forward. Really cool looking skill animations, I must say. And then the third skill, he just sits down on a chair there, and he just has, it looks like particles flying around and pelting the enemies, which is pretty cool. What effects is that applying? I don't even remember. That looked like, oh yeah, that was the all attack down. So that kind of looks like all defense down, but I only remember that being on the fourth skill. So here we have the fourth skill. The one downfall to the fourth skill is right here. You have to wait till that black hole opens up and shoots that beam of light down, and that beam of light is what causes the all defense down. So you do have to wait to the very end of the skill to get the all defense down. I believe you can cancel it once. Well, it's already canceled right there. So say once you see the black hole or the kind of fiery explosion happen, and then the fifth skill, he makes like another kind of black hole that he disappears into for a second there, and then he pops back out and explodes. And this skill right here, I think is still bugged in just regular game modes, because right here doing this attack, or maybe it's just not very many hits. I was going to say it never procs my CTP of energy. So it seems like these initial attacks just weren't registering or doing hits, but it might just be that he doesn't have a lot of hits with this skill. All right, come on, move over here, dude. All right, whatever, close enough. Okay, no, he just doesn't have a lot of hits. Okay, yeah, so that's what it is. That's why I wasn't proccing. Yeah, because I was having a really hard time proccing on the fifth skill, because what I thought I was going to do with the character is I was just going to open up with the fifth skill. We're going to get the proc going on there, and then I'm going to get the third skill for the immunity, go into the fourth skill. It's going to apply that all defense down, and then I could go back into the fifth skill, hopefully proc here, and then I would have the all defense down to take advantage of, and I just kind of repeat that rotation. And if I needed to have an iframe, I could go into the second skill. So that was my plan, but I was proccing always on the fourth skill, like pretty much every time, and all of the skills are pretty short. Yeah, really short in terms of the animation, so it's not very beneficial to use a damage proc with him. He really looks like a CTP of Rage character. Maybe if you proc on the third skill, if you get all the residual damage, because this one has a longer animation, but this doesn't have residual damage because you can't cancel that. So yeah, I'm just confused on how to play this character. His skills are just really short animations. You can't really combine them together very well. So he seems like you want to use a CTP of Rage because of the short animation times. So maybe all of his skills are just going to hit really hard. So you're just going to want to, spam skills. And that is basically the MO for a CTP of Rage, because I can't really find a consistent way to proc on him where you can actually get decent damage. Because, like I said, the skill animations are just too short. So let's go ahead and back out here, and we'll take him in against Cold Obsidian, and I can show you some of his survivability and just some of the gameplay and action. He is quite squishy, so you're definitely going to be relying on the third skill's damage immunity to be able to keep him alive. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop over to some World Boss Ultimate. Alright, so here we are at Cold Obsidian. I'm just using Medusa lead and Mystique for support. So let's go ahead and hop in and we'll just see Molecule Man in action here, and you can be the judge if I'm just, I don't know, if I'm just crazy here and he's actually playing well, where I'm just imagining that he's just plays really weird, because I don't know, he just doesn't feel like a complete character almost based on his skill animation. So like I said, I would like to open with this skill, and then we go into 3, and then we do 5 here, and then we can go boom, go back into 5 to proc, but it doesn't proc until the very end. Go into 4, do the iframe, go here, here. I don't know, that's kind of the rotation that I thought would work with him, but there's just no consistency on his procs, because I believe the 5th skill is just on a 7-second cooldown. Wait, oh, why did I get... yeah, it's just on a 7-second cooldown. So he should be good to just consistently proc on that if it was actually triggering the proc, which it doesn't want to. But yeah, you have to be pretty on point with the 3rd skill, and also canceling the 5th skill, because Cole will just wreck you if you let Molecule not get hit pretty much at all. But yeah, this is, I don't know, the skill rotation that I like with him. It is still kind of like spamming skills, but with some kind of method to the madness there. Oh, we got stunned or snared or knocked out of something, but anyway, that's a little bit of gameplay with Molecule Man, but you can see the hits just don't seem to be registering very well. Either he just really does not have a lot of hits on his skills, or he's missing some of the hits that he should be getting. Because, I don't know, he still feels kind of incomplete, and I was expecting more from a, like, super premium character, because he's the kind of Dr. Doom of the update, where he's locked behind all of the characters for the Epic Quest. So if you go over to the Epic Quest here, click on Dark Rain, and then you go over here, as you can see, he requires all the other characters to unlock, and he just feels underwhelming for one of those characters to me. Maybe it's just the APK that's, you know, has his damage severely neutered. Well, I guess I did that because I changed around the cards, but we don't have high raid levels, so I didn't want to keep the cards with all that pierce damage and overinflate them. But when I take off that pierce, I mean, he's doing like no damage. He doesn't seem to have a lot of hits. He doesn't feel like a strong or powerful character when I'm playing him. He just feels pretty weak. He feels like Morgan Le Fay. Her skill animations are really cool. It looks like she's doing a lot of stuff, but then you look at the damage and you're like, where is the damage gone? Kind of thing. And that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting from Molecule Man here, which I don't know if it will carry over to the live server or not like that, but that's just the impression I'm getting. So let me know what you think of Molecule Man here. Are you excited for him? Are you going to try to unlock him? Because I do think he's a really cool character. I like his animations. I think he's a cool character in general, but just doesn't feel very powerful or impactful right now in the game. He might just be a leadership character, which would be kind of annoying. So he'll just be a character that you always see as a lead in PvP, because he also has the revive right there. So he's screaming a PvP character. So maybe that's why he doesn't seem very strong in World Boss. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. And of course I will catch you in the next one.